All right, here it is, episode one. It's what you've all been waiting for. Well, it's what I've been waiting for. I don't know if anybody else has been waiting for this, but it's definitely what I've been waiting to do. Awesome. So, thank you guys for all the feedback I got on Facebook and Instagram. Posted that I was going to be doing this, and I got a lot of good comments and some DMs from people saying they really wanted to join this. A few people said that, hey, this is probably what I was born to do. I am very good at talking, I guess, according to a lot of people. I talk too much. So the problem I'm having is it's like hard to talk to yourself. You're just kind of like talking, and I try to close my eyes and just talk and pretend I'm talking to a bunch of my friends standing here. So, but it was easier for me to talk when I was drunk too, but now that I'm completely sober, it's a little different. But I can still talk, and I still have all sorts of different things going on in my head. Sometimes I tell my girlfriend stories about the old days or like stuff from my past, and it just kind of I go off on a tangent. So I can still talk. So I guess this is something that I'm pretty good at still. I got a few busy weeks coming up, so probably like maybe 2 weeks I'll get my first guest on. I think I know who it's going to be. I haven't reached out to this person yet to let them know that I want them to be my first guest, but there are some great stories that I think will come from this person. So I'm excited about that. As for today's episode, I thought about a few things I wanted to talk about. I thought about coming in hot with some conspiracy theories and some just some crazy stuff that is on my mind. I didn't want to scare anybody away on the first episode, so I decided to make it a little more personal. Maybe say talk about some things that maybe you guys don't know about me. I know that a lot of people that have known me since high school know I was kind of like a crazy, wild kind of guy, and always making jokes and always laughing and coloring my hair and wearing weird clothes. And I got into the punk rock phase, went to the grunge phase and punk rock phase. I mean, you guys kind of know me as that. And then after, just this crazy party and drinker guy and playing in the bands and all that stuff. And what you may not know about me is I was very introverted when I was younger. I wasn't outgoing at all. I was the opposite. And I I was very shy, and I had a lot of rejection, and that made me more and more shy. So basically a lot of it started, I want to say, in middle school. I know in elementary there were some things that happened that I it was some, being made fun of. Just people would pick on me, make fun of me. Yeah, I was bullied a little bit. I mean, a lot of kids are, and it does affect everybody in different ways. I I really took it hard. I was always getting picked on, and I was never cool. And I wanted to be like one of the cool kids. Something I've always, or I always wanted to do when I was younger. I saw these popular kids, and I wanted to be one of them. And elementary school, it wasn't so bad. I want to say like going into like fifth grade, I think I was semi in the middle. It wasn't cool, but I wasn't like a total dork. Um, Going into middle school, though, I kind of felt like an outcast. Like I was like super nerdy. I got pretty awkward. My skin started looking kind of bad. It wasn't like acne. It was just kind of like weird coloring in my skin, and I felt like I looked like I had red cheeks and I had freckles, and I had this blonde hair that was like almost white. And I just used to use lots of gel and hairspray, and tried to make my hair look good, and it looked horrible. And I used to look at pictures. I'm like, man, this looks horrible. And I used to get made fun of it, called, like, they said it it felt like a helmet. And all I wanted to do was fit in and be cool. I didn't want to just fit in. I wanted to like be popular. I wanted to be a popular kid. Like, I envied all those popular kids. That's something that was just always on my mind. What could I do to be popular? I'm sick of being a nerd. And I even went as far as like there was a time where everybody in school loved New Kids on the Block. And I even decided that I was going to get into them. My mom never lets me live that down. She tells everybody, remember when you loved New Kids on the Block? I admitted I tried to get into them. All right, fuck it. I got into them and I liked them and I fucking watched videos and I never had a shirt. I never had a button. I never had any of that. But the kids in school, like everybody in school, like, well, I guess the guys really didn't, but like all the girls had New Kids on the Block stuff. So I was like, if I like that and I know about it, maybe I can talk to a girl about it and she'll like me. And in the process, I think I actually did like listening to them. Okay, I'll fucking admit it. I don't care. When like NSYNC and like Backstreet Boys came out, I was fucking with that stuff too. I was Justified. I listened to that Justified album by JT. I know all of you did too. Me and my brother were fucking with that shit. You know, we were fucking playing that shit all the time. I remember bumping that shit in my car. Hell yeah. I don't know. But like in middle school, you just want to fit in. And, it's really hard to do. So you got to find some way to do that. Kids in middle school are like harsh, and I remember one time, and I know who it is. I remember exactly who it is, and I still talk to these people to this day. I've known you guys since elementary school. I will not mention names, but I remember one time I saw two people that I knew. They were French kissing, and this was like 7th grade, and I was freaking out. I was like, "Oh my god, I would not, that's I don't know how to do that." And I felt like such a dork. I felt like such a just a nerdy kid. Like I could never do that with a girl. I'm so shy. I'm so scared. But I ended up like just really like certain things happened in middle school where I was just like, I will never fit in. I will never, be, cool, I guess. And I remember one time I liked a girl and I liked her so much. And I told my friends that, I guess the couple friends that I liked her. And I, sent my friend over, like, tell her I like her. And she legit looked over at me and said, ew. Like, what the fuck? And her friends started laughing. And then she started laughing at me. And then I walked away crying. How cool is that guy, right? That guy's going to be popular, right? That guy's going to be the most popular kid in school because he cries when he gets rejected by a girl. So that was what I went through in middle school. Oh, there's another time where, and this was even more fucking cool. Like there was, I don't know if anybody remembers, but Magic Johnson had his own line of shoes. I want to say it was even before Jordans came out, and because this was like in the '80s, in the late '80s. So Magic Johnson had some shoes, and they were badass basketball shoes, right? They look cool on the pictures, right? And I talked my mom into buying them for me. They were expensive as shit. And I talked my mom into buying them for me, and she did not want to do it, and she finally did it. She bought them for me, right? And so another cool thing about me in middle school, my feet grew before my body. So I was wearing like size 9s or 10s, and I was like 5'4". So then eventually I caught up, I grew a few more inches and I caught up. But the thing is, like, I got these shoes, and this was during this awkward time where I hadn't grown yet, and my feet did, but I didn't grow yet. And when I wore them to school, kids were making fun of me, saying that, look, they're like, "Are you wearing your dad's shoes? What the fuck are you got clown shoes on?" I was like devastated, and I never wore those motherfuckers again. I know my mom got pissed off because I never wore those shoes again. I don't know how much they cost, but I mean, I know that they were super expensive at the time. But it's things like that that can really fuck a kid up, can really mess a kid up. And I went through a lot of that shit, a lot of different things like that, just getting, made fun of, just getting picked on, getting treated like I was a fucking freak, you know? Challenger Middle School, fuck that place. Everybody was kind of like shitty to me back then, And then and I'm not holding grudges against people, like a lot of people as we got older, like I became friends with them, and like there's a lot of people that I talk to on like Facebook and Instagram now that I'm cool with everybody now that was shitty to me back then. So don't think that I'm like holding grudges. I'm just telling a story of like what happened in middle school and the shitty things that happened to me. And I know everybody had a shitty time in middle school. Probably pretty much everybody did. If you weren't on the top of the food chain, did it lead to my eventual depression? Did it lead to my alcoholism? Uh, Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. I think other things led to that. It could have been like one of the first stepping stones to cause my alcoholism. Speaking of alcoholism, what's funny? The funny thing about being an alcoholic is they consider it a disease, but it's the only disease that you can get in trouble for having. You know, it's the only disease you can get yelled at and get in trouble for having. Like people don't say like "fuck you, Richard, you got cancer," but you can get yelled at. You can get in a lot of shit for being an alcoholic. By the way, I stole that joke from Mitch Hedberg. He rest in peace. He was the funniest comedian. My favorite comedian of all time was Mitch Hedberg. Look him up on YouTube or something, because dude, you will laugh your ass off. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. But so don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to fight. So basically, after middle school, you go to high school, and I felt like, oh, there's going to be a bunch of kids there I don't know, right? So maybe I got a fresh start. But freshman year was pretty rough. I had a hard time. I mean, I still couldn't fit in. I still got rejected a lot. I remember I liked a girl, and I mean, I made this girl a mixtape. I mean, why didn't she want to be my girl, right? I mean, I made her a mixtape, and she told me that she didn't want to have a boyfriend. She didn't want to date at the time. She didn't want to have a boyfriend. I was like, okay. And I swear, dude, like 2 weeks later, this girl was with someone else. She was with like some other dude, and I was like, okay, like just be honest. Like you don't like me, right? Like I get it. I mean, at the time it was rough because I had been through a lot of rejection earlier, all the way through like middle school, like even a little bit in elementary school, and so when you're like 14, that's rough. So I mean, you should be able to take rejection. Life is going to be full of rejections. Life is full of failures, right? But I just couldn't take that shit. It was rough. So basically, in high school, I remember freshman year, I had a lot of issues trying to figure out who I was. Um, I I tried like I even tried like dressing nice, dude. I wore a fucking turtleneck. No joke. For some reason, I thought a turtleneck looked nice, and like I didn't even have like a chain or anything like that. I just wore a turtleneck. For some reason, I thought that looked nice. Speaking of that, Mitch Hedberg has another joke, which it's wearing a turtleneck is like being strangled by a really weak guy all day long. I'm telling you, you gotta check out Mitch Hedberg if you haven't yet. Like, dude is the best. But yeah, I tried wearing like a turtleneck, and I don't know why. I had a friend that a lot of girls liked him, and he had a lot of friends, and he dressed really nice. He never wore a turtleneck, but he dressed really nice. I was like, maybe I'll try that. And man, I was so lost. I was so lost. I think about it. Back then, I was so lost, and I honestly can't remember exactly how everything changed. The only thing I remember is I had this guy in a class, and I don't remember his name, but he wore like Slayer shirts and had like long hair, and he showed me Rage Against the Machine for the first time. I remember that, like seeing him and his friends. I kind of wanted to be like that. Like I felt like they were the outcasts. I felt like an outcast. I felt like nobody liked me. I had like maybe three friends, and so I started looking into them, and I don't remember how I ended up like hanging out with them and hanging out with those people, but I made some really good friends. And but honestly, like I was trying to be like them. I didn't know anything about like the music they listened to. I'd never heard any of the bands. I ended up buying like band tees, and I never heard any of their songs. You couldn't just go, and listen to them back then. So you had to go like buy the tape. And I remember one guy called me out on it. He was like, I don't remember what band it was, but he was like, "What's your favorite song?" And I was like, you know, didn't have an answer, and he like straight called me out on it. So I realized, hey, don't wear band tees if you don't know the band, right? So I tried so hard to be like them that I realized I'm just doing the same fucking thing, right? Now I'm trying to be like these guys and I'm not fitting in. So it was just like I didn't know. I was like I said, I was so lost and I didn't know which direction to go. I didn't know I knew I wanted to be something like this, like an alternative type, I don't know, subculture, like something against the grain, but I really didn't know what to do. I was faking the funk. But I felt like those were the people I wanted to hang out with, if that makes sense. So I kind of grew my hair long and started, dressing like them um but it was still not fulfilling. It wasn't what I wanted to do. And then I feel like something snapped. Something that just popped in my mind, like popped in my head, like, hey, I think if I do what I want to do and do the opposite of what is cool or what everybody else is doing, just start doing weird shit. I remember I dyed my hair one time. Like I wanted to dye my hair, and I used Kool-Aid. I remember my friend Kim helped me dye my hair at my house with Kool-Aid, and it stayed in for a couple of days, and everybody's like, "Oh, that looks so cool. How'd you do that? Your hair's red." And I was like, "Oh, what? Hey, what? People are paying attention to me. People are noticing me." Then I discovered like manic panic, and this shit was over. Right? I just started dyeing my hair all the time, and I started getting like all this attention for doing the opposite of what everybody was doing. And instead of being one of the popular kids and doing what everybody else was doing, or even trying to be a stoner and be like a metalhead stoner, whatever you want to call it, and then trying to fit in with them and being fake, I was more genuine, more real by just doing weird, stupid shit that I thought of. And that's what I kind of became known for in high school, was just like being a fucking weirdo. But it all came from trying so hard to fit in. So I know middle school's hard for a lot of people, and it messes kids up, man. Sometimes it messes them up for good. They're depressed the rest of their life. For me, it just turned me into something. It got me the attention that I wanted, that I wanted my whole life. And I realized, I was funny, and I can make people laugh, and I got this, all of a sudden went from this like shy kid to this like outgoing personality and being crazy. And then that's something that from then on just stuck with me. I realized that I don't have to pretend. I don't have to be someone I'm not. I can just be me. And from then on, that's who I've been. I've just been unapologetically Dick. I've always been me. Never faked the funk. And I've gotten more love for that from my friends, and I love it. So I don't hate the fact that I went through all that. I don't hate it at all. And like I said, I don't hold grudges, and I remember, I remember who it is, and I remember who the people that talked a lot of shit. And you know tell you the truth, I'm still friends with a lot of these people on the socials. But like I said, I don't hold grudges. We were kids, and it didn't fuck me up. That's why I said I don't know if that led to my future problems. I went through a lot of other bullshit, some of which I'll get into on another episode. But I think really feel like it made me the person I am today. So But anyway, that's pretty much going to be it for this episode. I don't really think I have much more to talk about on the subject. I hope you enjoyed my little personal story. Um, I don't know. I'm liking doing this. If you dig it, please go to the Instagram page and follow. I don't want to like blow up my personal Instagram with like a bunch of shit about the podcast. So, which I probably will in the beginning, and then I'll just hopefully get everybody over to the podcast page, and then I'll just start posting shit about it there. So, yeah, like, follow, share the podcast page on Instagram. Maybe I'll make a Facebook too. Who knows? Anyway, that's it. It was nice talking to you. Peace.